Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you another PlayStation 4 review, and today I'm here to review the Bards Tale 4 Barrows Deep, the Director's Cut, that has just been released this week on PlayStation 4. Now then, the Bards Tale has got a long and varied history on many different platforms, and I'm not here to give you a history lesson on the games. No doubt if you're watching this review you've got a fair idea of some of the history of the Bards Tale games. Now this has just come to PlayStation 4. It is priced in the UK at $34.99, so it's just below the AAA titles in regards to price point, which is quite a nice thing to see. And what do we get with this game? Well, I think fans of old-fashioned RPGs are going to be in for a little bit of a treat here, because that's exactly what we're getting with this game. It's a very old-fashioned feeling RPG title, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. As soon as you go into the game you're given quite a few multitude of options as to how you would like to set the game experience for you. You can set the difficulty level, you can even set permadeath for the characters in your party and things like that. So you can customise the game to suit your gaming style, which is always nice to see. And then you're thrust straight into the game. Now, quite strangely, you don't get to customise your character straight away. You go into the game and you're like, I was a female character when I went into the game, and then about 10 minutes in, kind of inexplicably, you get to customise your own character. Why you don't get to do it straight at the beginning, I don't really know. But you get to customise your own character, and there's quite a lot of customisable options to choose from. You can choose your style, like fighter, rogue, wizard, all that kind of stuff. And you can choose the race, like human, elf, dwarf, the usual kind of stuff that you would expect. And then you get to choose like a couple of skills for your skill tree, and all that kind of stuff. So the customizable options are pretty good, even though it doesn't go down to the nth degree of character customization, i.e. what eyebrows you want, what mouth shape, nose shape, hair colour, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't go into that nth of the degree, but it goes into it enough to give you plenty of options. And then you're thrust into the game, and what is this game about? Well, if I did have any complaints with this game, it is probably the story. It's pretty light on story, this game. Essentially you are an adventurer, part of like the Adventurers Guild sort of thing, and much like The Witcher, you know, like those with like, you know, magical powers in The Witcher were like outcasts in certain areas of the game. They were burnt at the stake. Well, similar thing is going on in this game though, but this time it's like adventurers, and they're seen as like, you know, the bad guys, and there's like this religious cult that is hunting them all down, and you've got to kind of go underground, go in hiding, and quest from there. So you move forward with the story, and of course with this being an RPG you get a multitude of side quests. It's a good plea as you go on into the game. Now I'm not here to spoil anything in regards to the story, I'm not here to spoil anything in regards to the game. Other than to say this, you know, if you're going into this for a deep, enriched story, you might be a little bit disappointed because you're not really getting that. But it's enough to keep the interest up, and it's certainly enough to make the game interesting. So I've not completed this game yet. I'm about 20 hours in, but I'm pretty much at the stage now where I can give a pretty in-depth review as to whether this is a game you would like to pick up. My reviews are never thread to needle every single detail, because I want gamers to find that out for themselves. The idea behind my reviews is to let you know, is this, or is whatever game I'm reviewing, is it worth picking up? Is it worth you spending your hard-earned money on? And to be honest, this game, I think you could do far worse than this game, especially with the price point it's at. It's got a really unique look about it, this game. It feels old-fashioned, but modern at the same time. It's got a really lovely look about it. Everything kind of looks kind of hand painted. At times it feels like a last generation title, and then other times it feels really fresh and new. It's quite a unique look about it, and I really did quite enjoy it, I have to say, the way it looked. I don't really have any complaints about any of the graphics. The voice acting for the most part is on par. It seems like everybody's Scottish in this game. Most of the voice actors seem to be Scottish, and there's a nice fun bouncy feel about the voice acting. It's like they're not taking it too seriously, and it feels fun, a lot of the voice acting, and I didn't really have a problem with it at all. Any of the voice acting, I think they've done a pretty decent job with it. You start the game in a place called Skara Brae, which, like I say, is it's like this village, medieval type village, and then you're forced underground, and then you quest from there back up to the surface and beyond. Now, with this being a Bard's Tale, of course, it wouldn't be a Bard's Tale game without the tunes and the songs, if you like, and they are incorporated into this game in a number of ways. As you meet certain characters in the game, they will teach you songs to play, and in these songs they will do things like reveal for hidden items, reveal hidden paths, reveal where the enemies are, build a bridge, all this kind of stuff. So you've got all these different options with these songs that you play, and obviously you've got the option in the game to become a bard as well as all the others, the rogues, the fighters, the wizards, the dwarves. You can of course be a bard. There is, as you could imagine, quite an in-depth skill tree in here, and the skill tree you can develop all areas in regards to your attack, your defense, your commands, things like that, and they feel pretty relevant as and when you upgrade them. You can recruit party members to up to 6, I believe it is, yes, 6 party members, and you need to vary your party members so that you've got, you maybe have a couple of fighters, then you've got a wizard, you've got a bard, maybe a dwarf, maybe a rogue or two. So if you mix it up, you've got people that can do ranged attacks and powerful short-ranged fighting attacks. And what is the action like in this game? Well, it's turn-based. It's like a turn-based strategy game in a sense, but don't let that put you off. It actually works pretty well here. It's almost like chess boards on a chess pieces on a board, in a sense of you're laid out on a grid. You've got yourselves at the back, and you can see each other, and all your characters are laid out on the grid, and you've got the enemies in front of you all laid out on a grid, and then you take it in turns to do your attacks, whether that be melee attacks or long range attacks with arrows or with wizard spells, things like that. And then you've got to basically outperform those in front of you. And some of the battles are pretty simple, and some of them get much more tactical, and you've got to use your brains a bit, and you've got to kind of move your characters around the board sometimes, or move the enemy characters into certain positions in the board by drawing them towards you, or literally lifting them up and dropping them somewhere to turn the battle in your advantage. There are puzzles to solve in the game. You do get the option at the beginning if you want to make the puzzles kind of skippable or simple. They're not mind-bendingly difficult, a lot of these puzzles. Most of the puzzles consist of like these mechanical doors where you've got to kind of move the bits and pieces to all like wind round at the same time, so they'll open this door for you, or you've got like big pillars that you've got to push around the map onto certain areas, or you've got like little puzzles, and you'll have little clues hidden around the place, and it'll tell you to find certain things, so you'll go hunting for them and find them, and then put them in a certain place, and then a door will open. I think for experienced RPG players, none of these puzzles you're going to find particularly difficult, but they're a nice distraction. So what we have here, I would say, is a nice little package of a game. It's nicely presented, it's nicely polished. There are some performance issues in the sense of the game does pause occasionally as you're moving through the map, and you'll hear a little noise go off here and there that doesn't quite match what's in front of you, but generally speaking I don't really have any problems with the performance. The game hasn't crashed on me, so we've got a nicely presented game here. I personally really quite like this graphical style of the game. I think it works pretty well for what you get. it might put some people off. They might feel as though it's too retro, too old-fashioned, but that's kind of the point, I think, with this game. I think they've done a really, really good job of presenting an old-school type RPG that you can customize to your gaming style. So I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to lie, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's not overly in depth, it doesn't feel complex, it doesn't feel like it's going to go on forever like some RPGs these days, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's a game that never feels like it's ever going to end. There's a clear beginning to this game, and you can kind of see where the end is with this game. It doesn't hang around too long, it doesn't feel. You always kind of know what to do. It's not too difficult to figure out, and there's some fun to be had with the game in regards to some of the character interactions. Some of the dialogue is quite fun, and quite a lot of effort's gone into it. So certainly if you're a fan of the Bards Tale games, past or present, or if you're a fan of kind of old school type RPGs, I think you're going to find quite a lot here to enjoy, and the price point does help as well. But if you're not too sure, if you wait a month or two, this will probably drop down to about $24.99. Definitely worth picking up, then I would say. So I hope you found this review useful. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.